Fear Not, Episode 103. Hi, I'm Billy Atwell, and I believe that consistently facing your fears is the only way to realize your truest self and to make those confident choices that will help you to obtain your deepest held hopes and dreams. I have faith that this podcast series will show you that you are not alone, that it will strengthen you and give you courage to face your fears, and that it will help you to permanently cross over into a life of living beyond your fears. Join me on this journey as we listen and learn from others as they share their experiences in facing and overcoming their own fears. Hello, everybody. Today you and I are going to be joined by Dr. Neil Bernard. Hello, Dr. Bernard, and welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm fine. Thank you for including me.
Yeah, you ready to fear not today?
You bet.
Dr. Bernard is an adjunct associate professor of medicine at the George Washington University School of Medicine, a fellow at the American College of Cardiology, president and founder of the nonprofit Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, and the founder of Bernard Medical Center, a primary medical care center in Washington, D.C. Dr. Bernard stars in his fourth PBS special, Energy Weight Loss Solution, which will air this month. He's also authored more than 70 clinical research studies and 18 books about diet and health. Dr. Bernard, can you take a few moments to fill in the gaps and maybe give us a brief glimpse of your personal life as well?
Sure. Although I am on the faculty at the George Washington University, as you mentioned, here in Washington, D.C., I grew up in North Dakota, in Fargo, and moved to Minneapolis to work in a hospital and go to college. And then I moved out here to go to medical school. By day, I'm a doctor, as you mentioned. I do a lot of work to promote healthier eating. My main avocation is music. I'm an active musician as well.
Dr. Bernard, would you also share with us today one of the biggest fears that you've had to face?
You know, when I reflect on things that are unnerving, frightening, terrifying, to me, I think the greatest one was I was visiting my parents in Fargo after I'd moved away, and I came back, and I saw my father succumbing to the effects of dementia in a way that quite surprised me, and to the point of not only no return for him, but I had seen his parents both succumb to this, and I realized I was losing him, and also that I was next in line for it myself. And that was a very, very unsettling realization because there wasn't really a solution for it.
So how did you overcome that or deal with it?
Well, I started digging into the scientific literature about this to basically ask, is there some way out of this? And from that came really something that was quite the reverse of fear. It was quite hopeful. I discovered that there had been quite a lot of research on food changes that can be helpful. And as it happened, I had already made a lot of dietary changes before that without realizing that they would have any effect on brain function whatsoever. And I ended up writing a book about all of this experience. And to me, it has ended up being extremely empowering.
So how do you face fear in general as it comes to you on a, sort of case-by-case basis?
Well, being rational only gets you so far, but I think that's kind of what we have to rely on. I personally, I feel like we're in a world that is crazier all the time, crazier and more unpredictable. And I don't mean only politically, but I mean sort of in just about every way. And I feel that we have to try to not give in to becoming uncivilized and self-centered. And so what I try to do is to focus on using the short time that I have in life to make the world a better place, to reduce suffering to the extent that I can, and stay focused on that. And if you know what you're about and what you're going to do, and you accept that life is not forever, I think for me it allows me to set aside things that could be distractions.
And do you have any resources that help you personally deal with fear that you might be able to share with us today?
Um, one of the things that I do is I work at a nonprofit, as you mentioned in the introduction. I work at the nonprofit called Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, and that gives you the resource that people get in so many settings, which is the company of other people. And not only that, but this may sound a little funny, but every morning when I'm here in my office, I'm the president of the organization, and so I'm busy and I get here early. And my door is closed because I'm on a conference call at 8:30 in the morning, and there'll be a little scratching sound at the door. And I know what it is. I open it up, and there's a little dog who one of my colleagues has, who she brings to work every morning, and the dog knows that she scratches on my door. I let her in. She gets one rice cake, eats it, and she goes out. And there is something about being in the company of other people, and especially being in the company of these little angels that we call our dogs or cats or whatever, the animals that we share this planet with. And that is kind of no matter what else you're dealing with, that kind of keeps you afloat too.
Are you ready for the speed run?
Sure, hit me.
What individual, whether they be fiction or real, has made the most impact on your life?
I am going to say there is a researcher named David Jenkins who has had quite a career of his own. He's at the University of Toronto, and I have asked him for help in the work that we have done. And he always takes my call, takes as much time as I need. He's never takes 1 cent for anything, and he just embodies generosity. And to give of yourself to other people, I think is so cool, and he has modeled that for me.
And if you could instantly change one thing in the world, what's that change going to be?
I would take animals off of people's plates. If they did that, it would protect their heart, it would protect their lives, it would protect the environment, it would certainly protect the animals, and their brains would last longer as well.
What's your biggest weakness?
My biggest weakness is that I actually have to sleep at night. I can't work. I cannot work 24/7. I do have to go to bed. It's human frailty is something I have been unable to escape.
What's your biggest strength?
I am going to try to live up to something I heard. I heard the founder of the League of Nations was constructing this organization to try to get nations to get along in the ashes of World War I. And someone asked him, "Are you optimistic?" And he said, "I am not optimistic. I am not pessimistic. I am determined." And that is the way I think of myself, is I'm not going to decide whether I'm going to win or lose in the struggles I take on, but I know where I'm going, and I am determined to go forward.
And if you could only have one book to read, what's that book going to be?
That is an amazing question. There's a French writer named Patrick Rambaud, Rambaud, who wrote a book called La Bataille, means the battle, and it's about the struggles of Napoleon. And although I'm not such a big history buff, that particular book was all about just being on the edge of existence. The way this writer flashes between being able to surmount the various problems that in this case, the French army was dealing with, and falling into utter chaos. It's one of the most beautifully written books I've ever read.
Do you have a favorite sound?
A Les Paul plugged into my amplifier at about 9 out of 10 volume. that's my electric guitar. When I was a kid, I studied cello and piano at my parents' demand, and spent a lot of time with them. But when the Beatles arrived, I decided my black and white world was going to become color, and I took up the guitar. And I have a band called Carbon Works that plays really cool music, and so if I need to get away from stuff, my guitar allows me to use a language that words don't quite match.
And Dr. Bernard, if someone would like to connect with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Oh, well, thank you. You can certainly email me here at the Physicians Committee or call our office. We're here in Washington, D.C., and our phone number is 202-686-2210, and be glad to have your call anytime.
And what parting advice would you like to leave with us today?
I guess my thought is that life is short. Suffering is great. And the best thing we can do is to be generous and to be kind, whether that's to other people or to the animals that we share this planet with. For me, that was a journey from being the son of a cattle rancher to becoming a vegan, and from being a person who was a hunter to being a doctor. And I'm hoping that an element of kindness can be a little bit bigger in humanity's future than it has been in our past.
Well, thank you for that. And I want to let everyone know, too, that Dr. Bernard has generously donated a copy of his book, The Cheese Trap, to be given away. The competition starts today and lasts for only 7 days, so if you would like an opportunity to win, visit the giveaways page at livingbeyondyourfears.com to submit your free entry form today. Dr. Bernard, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show today. I know your time is tight today, so thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story.
Well, thank you for including me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for joining me today. And remember, you cannot achieve everything, but you do have the God-given ability to achieve anything. So stay focused, out of fear, and keep on keeping on. Until next time, be well and peaceful. For more information on today's episode and guest, or for resources that will assist you in overcoming your fears, visit livingbeyondyourfears.com. And don't forget to subscribe to this podcast, where 3 times a week we move to a life beyond our fears.